Hey there, this is Kevin from MaximizingEcommerce.com. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about product selection. I'm going to give you my number one tip. If you can follow this number one hack, you're going to be way ahead of where most people are. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, if you follow this one tip in your product selection, you will give yourself the absolute best chance of succeeding, and you will be way ahead of where most people are. And even if what you follow and what I say doesn't work for you, or at least you don't get the results you're looking for, you're still going to be better off in the end. So what is this product selection tip? Just do it. Just pick a product. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times people get so caught up in worrying about, oh, well, do I have the exact right thing? Is everything modified exactly the way I want it to be? They get caught up in we'll call it the paradox of choice. So if you ever looked on let's say Amazon, just using Amazon as an example, because I always recommend starting on Amazon. If you go on Amazon, there's so many products. Just like in kitchen and dining, there's literally millions just in the kitchen category, and that's not all the other categories. So to pick a product that might work for you, it just seems like there's just way too many products. So how do you pick one? Well, eventually you just have to pick one. And it might work, just give yourself a deadline that on X date, you're going to pick 2 products. And of those 2 products, you're going to start reaching out to suppliers and just asking for quotes. My very first product, I'll tell you this, it was not from going through Jungle Scout, which I think is a great product. Unicorn Smasher, there's all the other ones that, those Chrome extensions that can tell you how much something sells on Amazon. That's not what's going to help you is, by going in and fine tuning different criteria to look for with products. The thing that's going to help you the most is to just pick one and just start reaching out to suppliers. And the first product that I decided, hey, I think this is going to be my first product, I started reaching out to suppliers and I realized I couldn't get the numbers to work out. So what I ended up doing was I happened to be in Alibaba and I looked and it said, okay, people who saw this product also saw this. And it wasn't a supplier I ended up working with, but it was a product that at least got my mind thinking of, okay, what if I did this one instead? And that's ended up being the product that I actually sourced as my first product. Now, one mistake sometimes people make is they say, well, but I want it to be perfect. Perfect is never going to happen. Because if you're trying to make it perfect, you're trying to make it perfect for you. And so ask yourself this question. If whatever you're trying to do to make a product better, is it really making it better that's going to make a difference? Or is it going to be one of those things that you'll just find out what really matters to customers when you start getting feedback? Because the real people that matter the most is not the voices in your head that are saying, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. The real people that matter are the people that vote with their wallet and buy your product. So if somebody buys your product, they're saying, hey, I like this. And so their voice matters the most. Those are the people that you want to listen to. And you'll not get those people if you don't first buy a product. So a simple way to think about this without getting into all the complexity of all the different nuances of, this strategy or this tactic or do this or get another software. That's all distractions. Once you kind of have some system you like let's say Jungle Scout or Unicorn Smasher, they're all kind of hypothetically guessing about how much products will sell. You don't really need exact numbers because you don't really know what your product is going to sell until you get it out in the market and you start selling it and see what people tell you. So the main thing to think about is the highest level strategy. Find a product that people want to buy that you can source and sell at a profit. If you just think of it that way. You find a product people want to buy that you can source and sell at a profit. It's that simple. And don't get, again, caught up in trying to make it perfect. You're going to always be reiterating it. My very first product, which was about 2 years ago, I launched it. And I have a shipment coming from a supplier that's going to leave China next week, and as I record this, and I've already spoken to my supplier about, okay, here's some things I want to change on this particular product for the next one. And I've changed things on that product 5-6 times, at least. So it's better to get it out in the market, see what people have to say, and find out what the market has to say. Now, what if it just doesn't work? Because that's a big fear people have. Okay, let's say you take all the money you have, or that you feel comfortable investing, and it just isn't selling. Well, there's ways of liquidating. You know, you could drop your price, you could increase pay-per-click, you could do coupons, you could run promotions. I mean, there's ways of getting your money back to at least break even. But let's say it takes you a year to break even, which, you know, there's no guarantees in any of this, but let's just say it takes you a year to break even, which would be a not so good scenario. But what would be the positive out of that? You would have had made a year's worth of sales, and you would have learned a lot, because you start seeing what people actually want. So if you decided, I no longer want to sell that particular product, you're going to have a whole lot more basis of thinking about what's going to work the next go around, because sometimes you have to fail a few times to figure out what's going to work. You know, we get sometimes put so much pressure on ourselves that we look at the person that just won the Olympic gold medal or the marathon, and we're still learning how to crawl, and it's like we don't even want to bother learning how to walk because we can't figure out how to do what these, you know, world-class athletes have done. That's something we do in this entrepreneurial space all the time. We look at people high up that, you know, have, you know, millions of dollars in sales, and we're not quite there yet, and say, well, if I can't achieve what they've done, then it's not working for me. No, don't think of it that way. Think of it as you just got to get out there, start getting your hands dirty, so to speak, and making it work. And there's a example I'd like to give here. So I'm going to actually unmic myself here for a second. So sorry about this. But I'm going to give you an example of a mistake that I made that probably has cost me hundreds of thousands, if not into the millions. And that is back in 2004 on eBay, I bought this Nike Forward. Now, it's still in the packaging. I bought it for, I don't know, $40 or something like that. And I thought I could sell it for like $400 because I went on Nike's website and it was something like, let's say $399 was the MSRP. And I was like, oh wow, I can, flip it and make all this money. And then came to realize nobody was actually paying $400 for those. So what did I do? Nothing. Zip. I bought two of these. One's in my golf bag, which is over there collecting dust because I never really play golf anymore. And then the other one is here as a reminder to me of the importance of taking action, because I got back into the idea of getting into e-commerce back in 2015. And think about that. For 11 years, all the sales that I missed. Now this year is my second year back into it, and 2017, we're at the end of 2017 here as I'm recording this, and I'm going to finish the year at about $200,000 in sales. And think about 11 years that I missed. Everybody talks about the good old days. I missed the good old days. Well, the good old days is today, not the past, not the future. It's today. That clock is ticking, and you could end up like me, kicking yourself because for 11 years you didn't even try. Let's say I put this up on eBay, and then let's say I lost 20% of what I invested in it. So I get like $32 back instead of the 40. Would that have been a failure? No, because I would have gotten experience. It would have been the first sale I would have made at the time on eBay. I've made sales since then on eBay, since I've gotten back into this whole e-commerce thing. But, I would have been there at the beginning of Amazon. I would have understood things more because I would have been in the middle of it. It's much easier to comprehend things when you're in the middle of something and not when you're trying to say, well, why don't I read another article? Why don't I watch another video? So no, my number one product tip, just pick one and start. Even if it's not pulling the trigger to actually send money somewhere else to a supplier, at least just start talking to suppliers. Then once you get a couple suppliers you like, start getting some samples. You got a sample that works well, and there's a bunch of tweaks you want to make. When in doubt, don't worry about tweaking it too much. Just enough that you know people will want to buy it based on, I mean, you can see the reviews and see what people are saying. But if it looks like something people are willing to buy, just get an initial order, get it out there, see what people buy. See what people buy. You'll always do better in the end. Don't kick yourself because all of a sudden it's 11 years later and you're just now getting back into this game. So if this is something you're thinking about doing, my biggest advice to you, get started. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and you have yourself a wonderful day.